Well, Nigeria is already on the road to 2027, and the political chessboard is shifting from talks of Rabiu Kwankwaso's possible realignment to debates over the Tinubu administration's economic claims to rising insecurity in some regions. The battle for perception and positioning has begun. But it's not just about 2027. In Osun State, the countdown has already started for the 2026 governorship election. The PDP is sharpening its strategy while the APC, out of power in the state, is grappling with internal questions of electability. Tonight, I'm joined by the National Secretary of the All Progressives Congress, Senator Ajibola Basiru, a man at the very heart of his party's strategy for 2027, and one whose name is already being whispered in Osun as a governorship contender. We'll be unpacking the power play, the promises, and the pitfalls both nationally and at home in Osun State. Thanks for joining us on the program, everyone. Senator Bashiru, welcome to Beyond the Headlines. Distinguished, I'm hoping you can hear me. There's renewed talk about former Kano State Governor Rabiu Kwankwaso aligning with the APC. Can you confirm if such discussions are happening at the highest levels of your party?
For now, I can't talk about that, but I know that as a matter of practical politics, our party is open to receiving high-profile politicians who are ready to align and work with the realization of the new hope agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. That's the much I can say for now.
You know, Kwankwaso polled nearly 1.5 million votes in the last election, and his party, as you are aware, still dominates Kano, a state that often determines who wins the presidency. If the APC embraces him, are you concerned that that can risk alienating loyal northern blocs already in your fold?
No, I have said it. I don't want to go so much into it, but suffice to say that even today, our party is very strong in Kano State. The last by-election that was held on August 16, our party, the APC, won one of the House of Assembly seats on offer, and the ruling NNPP in Kano State also won, one, even though we have some issues about the underhand, violence that was presented by the NNPP in that election. And Kano State is actually a place that is oversaturated by big wigs of our party, like our former national chairman, Dr. Abdullahi Umaru Ganduje, the present Deputy Senate President, Barau Jibril, and also the chairman, House Committee on Appropriation, Honorable Bichi, as well as some other high-profile politicians. So, irrespective of whether Senator Rabiu Kwankwaso join us or not, we are very optimistic that our party is alive, strong, and very vibrant in Kano State, like any other part of Nigeria.
So let's assume he doesn't join, but chooses another platform like the ADC. That would be President Tinubu versus Atiku, Obi, and Kwankwaso all on one side. That's like being caught in a ground opposition coalition trap, right?
There's nothing like coalition. I think these people, when they talk about coalition, Nigeria is a presidential system of government, and you go to the poll by your political party. Today, we are not even sure who is even with SDP, who is even with ADC, who is even with the PDP. And with the grand so-called, in quote and unquote, entrance of the so-called coalition, we had just a series of elections on August 16, and they could not even barely to win any single ward in any of the electoral contests that has occurred. Our concern is to continue to mobilize and resonate with the Nigerian people, and we are not bothered by what Mr. President called coalition of confusion.
I spoke with the spokesperson of ADC the other day on the show, and he mentioned that they actually did not field as many candidates in that election, and that it would be fair to judge them by how they performed during the by-election. But some stakeholders, especially those in the opposition, have said that your party is relying too heavily on elite alliances rather than genuine grassroots mobilization. How are you avoiding complacency in that regard ahead of 2027?
I don't know who is really doing elite conspiracy or elite alliance or grassroots alliance. Election was conducted. Politicians are not from the moon. They are practical people on ground. Even if the so-called spokesperson, which I don't even recognize him as a spokesperson of a political party, is for me an impostor and somebody who need to first go and put his house in order and get to be recognized legally as a spokesperson of a political party. Is saying that they did not fit candidate. That is far from the truth. They fielded candidates in Remo and they performed abysmally. They could not even get 300 votes. They fielded candidates in some other constituency and they could not get votes. Barely some meager number of votes. Some of their votes in the area where they contested is not even up to the total number of agents for those constituency. But that is apart from the case. We have a political party that presently has just about 2/3 of the majority in the Senate, has overwhelming member in the House of Representatives. As of today, we have 23 governors with some other governors coming. And every day, our political party mobilize and carry out activities at the grassroots level. And yes, somebody is saying we are doing alliance of elite. Which elite are we talking about? We are talking about resonating and galvanizing the Nigerian people to continue to support the APC and the new up agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So we are not bothered about people going on national television when in reality they don't even have any political platform on the ground that can galvanize voters to support them.
I guess time will tell, and they will put all of this to test on election day. But your party has hailed the Tinubu administration's revenue growth as a major success. Here's what the opposition is saying. Opposition voices dismiss that position as unsustainable and disconnected from real economic hardship. So, as National Secretary, how do you reconcile these two realities? Is APC communicating progress that Nigerians simply don't feel in their daily lives?
You see, Nifemi, I'm a Yoruba man. There's an adage in Yoruba land. They said, Otaini Kompo Doya. That is, one's enemy cannot kill a giant, rabbit. So whatever we do and whatever Nigerian people say about our government cannot, of course, align with the morbid perception of opposition who is just out to grab power. The reality today is that because of the economic reforms of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, revenue is now accessible and the subnational now have access to resources to be able to fulfill their obligations in terms of recurrent expenditure and also invest massively in infrastructure. For the past 4 months running, statistics have shown that the overhead inflation is actually coming down. The Naira is firming up against other currencies in the world. And in terms of the microeconomics, we have development of Nigeria having better balance of trade relationship, if that though, which was not the case before President Bola Ahmed Tinubu come into power. But just as we said, what will be their job if they continue to say they want to applaud what President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and our party is doing? They could as well close shop. So we are not bothered about their jaundice and rather unprincipled appraisal of what is happening in Nigeria. The Nigerian people know very well, and that is why since President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has been in the shadow in the elections that have been conducted so far, we have had superlative performance and acceptance by the Nigerian people, who for us are those that matters, are not some disgruntled and the highly displaced politicians who cannot even be able to identify how to even play policy of opposition in the constructive and patriotic manner.
Let us speak to Nigerians for a minute. Perhaps we take a break from replying opposition. Beyond headline figures, how do you address concerns that increased revenue is being eroded by inflation? And not just the figures you're quoting. I'm talking about inflation today relative to what it was pre-2023 when this government came to power. Debt servicing and what some quarters called continued hardship. What is the real relief for ordinary citizens here?
Nifemi, as at the time President Bola Ahmed Tinubu took over, what was the minimum wage? National minimum wage at that time, and what is presently the minimum wage today. So when you want to make, you cannot compare orange and apple together. You have to compare all the parameters, together and just not pick it. And of course, there is time value of money. A naira in 2023 is not a naira in 2025, and will not be a naira in 2027. So what we are saying is that in terms of intervention, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration has made massive intervention with a view to addressing the yearnings of the Nigerian people in terms of their needs, both in the area of economy and the area of welfare. Before this administration came into being, there was nothing like Net Fund, which has been able to make funds available to support education of at least 400,000 Nigerian students. Before this administration, there was no credit call, which is now available to the workers in the public service to be able to access and be able to get tangible items, consumables from using credit system. Before this administration, the infrastructure and the yield in the area of agriculture should also be continued. So you cannot just cherry pick items and then use it as the basis to make your criticism. Governance is a holistic process, and then you're able to look at what has been done in the area of infrastructure and the area of massive investment in ensuring that we have a better economy, not only today, but the future Nigerians.
You know that 2027 will largely be a referendum on the economy. Do you think APC is at risk of repeating PDP's mistake, governing on macro numbers while citizens live the opposite reality?
As I'm telling you, we continue to address the challenges Nigerian people are facing. We continue to identify with the Nigerian people, and at the same time, we continue to let them get educated and get them to understand the massive effort being made by the present administration in addressing the various challenges being faced by our government. And from what we are saying in terms of our interface with the people and the effort of our leadership at the subnational level, we are very optimistic that in 2027, the Nigerian people will still give applause by voting massively for the APC.
Let's take a short break, and when we return, we'll turn our attention to Osun State. Stay with us, everyone. Ajibola Basiru is the National Secretary of the All Progressives Congress. He joins us today on the program. Thank you for staying the course. Let's take you home. I guess you're home as we speak. You're joining us live from Osun State. Your name has been repeatedly mentioned as a likely aspirant in the 2026 Osun governorship election. But the state government recently dismissed you and other APC hopefuls as unelectable. How do you respond to that perception, and why do you believe you can flip Osun back to APC?
I wouldn't want, unless the spokesperson of Adeleke administration has another job, I wouldn't want him to say that he will not be able to glorify, the undefined administration of Ademola Adeleke in Osun State. He's doing his job. So, but to say that some of us are not electable is about his own perspective. The truth is that today, as you can see, there are many gladiators that have come forward to put their heart in the ring. Some are still contemplating doing same. And we believe that with the mobilization effort that our party is doing, definitely the party is going to coast clear to victory in 2026. And as for my own personal ambition that has been touted, I've said it on several occasions. I am a product of leadership that believe in consensus and also believe in assigning responsibility and task to us who are those in the field working for the party. For now, I'm the National Secretary of the APC. As I told you, we are presently engaging in consolidating the oath of our party in many states. We are also working towards stabilizing our party ahead of the 2027 election. Whether or not I will put my heart formally in the ring will be determined based on consensus with the leadership and what kind of assignment and responsibility the party want to give me ahead of the 2026 and 2027 election. But as you can see, even from the images on your screen, you can see that our party and supporters are waxing, very, strong, and we are poised, to give a serious challenge and chase, the dancing, personality from the government house of Osun in 2026.
Politically, there's an unprecedented development since the advent of this administration, just like what we saw in Rivers State, where your party, appeared to have worked with the PDP during the local government election. In Osun now, the PDP there has already declared support for Mr. President. The deputy governor is also having issues back in Ife because of his alignment with another National Assembly member who had defected to your party. We've seen the governor visit Mr. President a couple of times. If his party supports Mr. President at the center, shouldn't Mr. President also reciprocate? It's a very sensitive and dicey development. But how is the APC in Osun interpreting this?
First and foremost, I want to correct an impression that our party colluded, if I get you right, with the PDP in Rivers State. There was an election and there was a contest. Our party won 20 and the PDP won 3 local government. And you can see the sterling performance of PDP in the local government of the minister for the FCT. So the what happened in Rivers State is a contest, and it's also a testimony of the groundswell of support that our party is getting, not only in Rivers State, in the South and the entire Nigeria. And you can also see that even the minister for FCT, who is a very committed leader of the PDP, saying that because of what the president is doing in Rivers State, it becomes very difficult for them to campaign for the APC in Rivers State. Now, talking about Osun, yes, we have had Governor Adeleke and his team saying they are going to support the president in 2027. But there will be a contest before 2027, and that's 2026. As of today, he's not a member of our party, and our responsibility, particularly my responsibility as a national officer of our party, is to ensure the victory for the APC in 2026 general election, irrespective of whatever anybody would think wants to do in terms of supporting the president in 2027.
The last time we spoke, you mentioned that if Governor Adeleke decamps to the APC, that you adopt him as leader of the party. Does that position still stand?
What I said, I didn't say it will be adopted as leader, but I said if today the leaders of our party decide to accept Adeleke, I don't have any choice. And of course, I follow the leadership blindfoldedly, if I may use that word. So we're going to accept anybody that leaders say should work with us within the PDP. It's not a personal fight. It's about the interest of the leadership aligning with realization of the goal of ensuring that the APC remains a veritable electoral force, not only in the Southwest, but the entire Federal Republic of Nigeria.
The PDP, as we speak, is already raising questions over INEC's voter register in Osun, and they are warning of possible, what they call possible manipulation ahead of the 2026 election. As National Secretary of the APC and a potential aspirant, if I can put it that way, do you share confidence in INEC's capacity to deliver a free and credible poll?
Of course, INEC has, over the years, has stamped its authority as a veritable institution for the purpose of ensuring free, fair, and credible election. The fact that a political party is not doing well is a basis to attack credibility of institutions. This institution is a national institution and is not an arm of any particular political party. And as for Osun, as of today, even based on the present registration, INEC has alerted of the danger people collecting their permanent voters card. For instance, as at presently, more than 360,000 cards still remain uncollected in Osun. So there's a difference between people registering and people collecting the card, and there's also a difference between people who have registered, who have collected their card, coming out to vote during the election. Our job as a political party is to ensure that people register, collect their card, and actually come out to vote for our party during the election. So we'll continue to mobilize. And that is why, for instance, I am in Osun to work with our leaders to ensure that we galvanize unregistered people to vote in the election, to register with a view to voting for our party in the next election. So if you are doing our work and some other people are not doing their own work, they cannot lay blame on Independent National Electoral Commission for allowing people to register, which is their civic responsibility.
But there are genuine concerns about this registration process, whether or not our current register is not over-bloated when you consider the percentage of registered voters with those who actually turn out to vote on election day. That doesn't bother you?
You see, every person's job is cut out for them. Our political party is to ensure, as a political party, the APC, our responsibility to ensure that majority of those that eventually decide to vote for our party. The fact that you are registered to vote is part of your civic responsibility, but there's no obligation for you to actually vote. But there, civil society organizations have responsibility to continue to enlighten the people on the need for them to vote. Our own is that whether 10%, 20%, or 50% of people who are registered come out to vote, majority of them should come and vote for our party as the APC. So different roles, different responsibility. So as a media organization, you may also sponsor education of voters on the need for them to come and exercise their franchise. Our job is to mobilize those that will vote for our own political party.
We have to go now, but the local government tussle in Osun has generated heated debate and is now before the Supreme Court. Without going into the case itself, how do you think the local government system in Osun and indeed Nigeria can further be strengthened so that grassroots governance is not constrained by political or legal battles of this nature?
Yes, speaking for myself and not for the APC, I think there's a need to free the local government administration from the stranglehold, of the states. But then it's a question of what is the nature of federalism adopted by the Nigerian constitution. It appears that the Nigerian constitution, by its present get-up, has attached the local government with its umbilical cord to that, of the state, government. Whether that has worked very well is debatable. So I believe that local government should be the bulwark for delivering on amenities and delivering on certain essential social services for the people at the grassroots level. And if we're able to achieve this, this will definitely enhance governance and ensure that people derive dividends for the democratic advancement of themselves and our society.
Good place to leave it. We'll see how it all plays out in the coming day, especially now that local government has autonomy. The expectation is that the grassroots development thrives and it's not hindered by what we've seen as political and legal hindrances. We're also counting down to the Osun election and see developments in that regard. Senator Ajibola Basiru, thank you so much for talking to us.
Yeah, thank you, Nifemi, for having me here.
That's our show today, everyone. Remember, you can watch it again at midnight and 6 a.m. tomorrow. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. See you again next week.